What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
There we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 368 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA, and now number 11 ranked Philadelphia podcast. It's the Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB and Deej coming at you, and we apologize that this episode is coming out later than normal because by the time you hear this, it is later than normal. We are just trying to do our best impression of the NLL's injury report. We've got a fun episode for you. We're going to break down the NLL week that was, go into this week's action, and we'll talk some PLL as some moves have been made. A quote has come out that has made me very, very enthused. And then Deej will take us through the college circuit like he always does. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials across the board at OTB LaxPod. We're on every social platform. Follow Hoots on the socials at Hoot Sports Media. Follow Chase at the PLL Pipeline. Follow DJ at SCS_next great. And you can follow me if you so choose to at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. I'll say it one more time for good measure. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. It helps every show in our network continue to grow. So keep on subscribing on Apple and Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews and help this thing go to the moon. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We're currently at 1,049 subscribers, which means we're 51 away from the next 100 subscriber milestone. So keep subscribing, leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this show is proudly presented by Shootout For Soldiers. And guys, we've been talking about Shootout For Soldiers for a while on this show. You already know the best way to get down at a summer lacrosse event is with our friends at Shootout For Soldiers. Their entire schedule for 2025 is now out on their website. Find an event, whether it be Atlanta, Annapolis, Maryland, Jacksonville, North Carolina, Long Island, Massachusetts, Ohio, Canandaigua, Virginia, Colorado, Baltimore, or the most recently added Kansas City out in October. They've got everything you could possibly want out of a lacrosse event. It's bringing community together with the sport of lacrosse to help support our nation's veterans. So use our link in the description, find out how to get involved, become a sponsor, register for an event, donate, or just learn more about Shootout For Soldiers and their efforts to help our nation's veterans, because at a time like we're living in right now, our nation's veterans certainly need all the support they can get. So check out Shootout For Soldiers website in the description, register for an event, and we thank Shootout For Soldiers for being a proud presenting partner of the Outside the Box podcast. Coach Deej, the Composure King, how we doing?
I like that. I am, in fact, definitely feeling like the Composure King. As I stated on Twitter earlier this week, it was a very, very high-tempered game. Like, I didn't give you guys a rundown in the OTB chat like I should have. Two of my players got in a fight in this game.
Hit him with the left. Hit him with the right.
No, I'm about to break it down. Like, bro, it actually was kind of wild. So the whole game, there's this one kid on the other team. He had been jawing all game, giving guys little light pushes in the back when they're on the inside, like kind of just doing sneaky stuff the refs can't see. I get it. It's part of playing any sport. People get away with stuff. But refs have to do their job in managing the game. When you hear them talking to each other, when you see something, you got to say something. They let all of this go unchecked. And not that we were completely innocent. We said some things here and there, but I was very quick to go, guys, stop talking. Guys, move on. Get away. Keep going. I was just trying to coach my team to keep us from getting penalties, which actually, up until that fight, we had 0 penalties in the game. We were doing very well and we're very disciplined. I was very happy. So now that you guys have the context, the preface, it was right off the face-off. The guy ties up with my guy, and he's holding his stick. My guy tries to rip his stick away, so he does one of those, like, push-pull things, and the guy doesn't let go of the stick, so he falls to the ground, and so now it looks like my player is standing over him after pushing him to the ground. So his teammate comes and runs in from, like, 20, 30 yards away, just bulls my kid over, blindside hit. And not even 2 seconds later, one of my kids, full speed, Superman punch with the right hand. Bow. The kid falls and he hops right on his back and he's just throwing haymakers like this. And I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm like walking out. Like, I'm not even trying to run out because I don't want any of my guys on the bench to run out with me. So I'm walking out and I'm like, yo, chill out. Gavin, stop. Gavin, chill. Gavin. Connor, get over here. Just go over there. Shut up. Stop talking. Move. Like, and obviously none of this is working. So we finally get everybody separated and everything. The refs get together and they're doing their talk. I'm at my guys and I'm like, yo, I get it. I've been watching the game. I know what's happening, but you cannot act like that. Especially one of my kids who was in the fight. He had been in 3 fights last year. And I'm like, one. Like it happened, it done, get it out. It's out of your system now. We're not doing this again. Like, if you feel like you're gonna fight somebody, turn and look at me because there's never been a time you've looked in my direction and haven't laughed or smiled. And by the time you look back, the situation is done, is over, and we can keep playing lacrosse. So that's our new strategy for that. All 4 people involved in the fight, 2 from our team, 2 from their team. 3-minute non-releasable penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct, ejected from the game after serving their penalties, and they will have to sit their respective teams' next games. But through all of that, I did a phenomenal job of asking referees questions. Sir, why wasn't that this? Sir, I saw that. What did you see? Sir, can we look for this next time? I get a reply. I'd be like, thank you, sir. And that was that. I would walk away. I would go back to coaching. And I made it through game 1 with no misconduct penalties. Only 15 more to go. We lost 15-5, but we were missing 7 starters. So it does not accurately say anything about our team or really their team when you're missing so many guys like that.
Hey, I'm a big proponent for my high school sports teams as well, being the voice of all of them. Shout out to Vineland Lacrosse, 13-1 victory yesterday.
Nice.
Big time dub. Shout out to the boys doing their damn thing. Shout out to Coach Kevin Coring. He definitely listens to this show and Underground. So doing
Coach
the damn
Kev,
thing.
Coach Kev, I'm gonna be probably over in that direction around 2030. So if you're still around, I'd love to hop on your
He's the man.
staff. I'd love to hop on your staff. If you're not around, I would love for you to give me a good word so maybe I can replace you. We can talk about that another time, but I do plan on making my way that way somewhere. And I will need a coaching job. So
making my way downtown.
I need some contacts in my back pocket.
He's the man. I do want to try to get him on the show this season too at some point to just talk a little Vineland lacrosse, because we got some shooters in this area that don't get talked about enough, including my boy Mikey, who with fantasy sports and everything.
Yep.
100 goal scorer in Vineland high school history.
Oh,
so
that's sick.
He's a dog. But yeah, good shit, man. Good shit. Winning comes with learning from things like that. So I'm sure you guys will be back on track before you know it. But let's get into the week that was in the NLL, our NLL wrap up. Always brought to you by our friends over at Buff. Guys, Survivor Season 48 is here, and that means the Survivor Season 48 Buff Essentials are live on their website. Check them out. Visit Buff's website. The link is in our description. Check out everything they have to offer. DJ, I don't know about you. I know I said this last week, but this week's weather here in the South Jersey area, the tri-state local area, is looking fantastic, which means we might be going for some hot boy walks at some point because the weather's going to be shining. We might be able to let the calves breathe a little bit. It's going to be beautiful the next couple of days. And the best way to keep, the sweat out of your face, protect your head from the sun, is with our friends at Buff. Before you know it, summertime's going to be here. So gear up, get ready, use our link in the description, and shop everything from our friends at Buff, including the Survivor Season 48 capsule that they have now for the new season of Deej and I's favorite show.
I just looked at the weather for Kalamazoo. It is going to rain 7 of the next 10 days.
Ew.
But the high today is 71. Got a high of 69 on Sunday.
Nice.
We got like 4 or 5 more 60s in here. The lowest high I'm seeing is 45 on next Tuesday. So we are hitting spring, and I could not be happier.
Our weather, today's high 66. Tomorrow, being Saturday, 79 degrees.
Hot boy.
Sunday, 72. Monday, 72. Tuesday, 58. Wednesday, 53. Thursday, 70. Friday, 71. My insides are glowing with happiness with the sunshine on its way. Well, let's get into week 17 in the NLL. That was not the best week for our picks, I'll say that much. I went 3-4. You went 2-5 in our picks. Halifax survived, thankfully, in terms of our picks wise. They win 17-16. Buffalo wins the Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup 13-10 on Friday. The Philadelphia Wings get absolutely embarrassed by the Toronto Rock 15-8 up in Hamilton. The Albany Firewolves, I said it. The Wings got swept by the Firewolves and injected life into their season. They are very much alive for one of those final playoff spots now. They win in overtime at home against Buffalo, 11-10. San Diego wins 16-12 on the road against Calgary. Vancouver pulls out a clutch home win, 15-13 against Georgia. And then Ottawa beats Colorado 14-9 on Sunday. And I'm going to start off our weekly recap with this, Deej, since we are doing our best impression of this. Adam Levy tweeted about it, our good friend Hutton Jackson also tweeted about it, and Hutton's argument is even more so, should be in the spotlight because Hutton, huge gambling, influence on the sports markets. The fact that we did not know Dylan Ward wasn't playing this weekend until about like 3 or 4 hours before game time is so irresponsible by the league, by their guidelines of when guys are announced to be out. And if you're supposed to be the next major league, is your tagline, here's the thing. Gambling is a huge part of the sports world now, whether you like it or not. And the fact that I'm sure, including our picks that got messed up here, and obviously it doesn't really mean much for our picks. We're just keeping tabs on it for the fun of it. But the people who invest money in betting on lacrosse and didn't know Dylan Ward wasn't playing, or maybe like they were out and about on Sunday and had no chance to look, had no clue that a goalie who had never played in the NLL before was getting their first career start for Colorado. That is so irresponsible and just so minor league, and it's embarrassing, quite frankly. And I don't know. I've talked to Adam about this a little bit, and we don't really know the answer, whether or not it's something that's in the CBA or something like that. But moving forward, and whenever, things get situated, whether there's a lockout or not with the next CBA, you need to have something in there like that. The injury reports need to be declared by like Wednesday. Like midweek, we need to know whether or not a player is traveling with a team for a road game, whether or not a player is questionable, doubtful. We need designated injury tags in the NLL far sooner than what we get. Like, we should not be waiting around until 4:00 on a Friday to know whether or not a superstar player is playing in their team's respective game. It's so flat out embarrassing. It's flat out just like we need the secret society of the NLL coverage and the NLL as a whole to just be abolished. Like, we can't have just selective people knowing whether or not a player is going to be active for their game, whether or not a player is going on the injured reserve list, whether or not a player is going to be traveling with a team, and it be, 3 or 4 people who know. And kudos to those people who do know because they've been around the sport for a while. But that needs to be majorly known public knowledge, not only for the gambling side of things, but for the people attending games. Like, that is a huge thing. Like, people on Sunday going into the game probably thought they were going to see Dylan Ward versus Zach Higgins in goal. And that wasn't the case. And again, this is also not any negativity towards Dylan Ward for not playing in the game. This is not negativity to any player that gets ruled out. This is not on you. This is a league issue. This is a institutionalized issue within the confines of the CBA potentially. It's just super embarrassing. It makes people look dumb who are trying to talk about this sport in an intelligent way. And then when you see a team who you believe is not going to have a chance, win by 5 goals, win by 6 goals because a key player is missing, that just is a black eye on your league.
My thing with that is it's a once a week thing, right? Like, you're only playing on the weekends. Every once in a while, you'll have a Monday game or a Thursday game, but that's very rare. It's more of, hey, we play on Saturday and Sunday. Why is the injury report not out Wednesday or Thursday? It doesn't have to be final then, but we have an idea of who's playing, who's questionable, and then you can update that later. Oh, update to our injury report. So-and-so isn't going to play. We see that with teams all the time, especially a scenario like Dylan's, where I think Dylan probably wasn't on the injury report, and then he gets a call on his way to the game or something like that nature. Hey, I'm going into labor. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm leaving. I got to go. And those things happen. We see that happen in other sports too, where, oh, all of a sudden someone falls sick the morning of the game. You just update the injury report and say, in addition, and it's like a breaking news thing. Like, oh, by the way, this is an addition that won't be at the game because of this. But it doesn't look like you're being shady or anything because your injury report was out 3 days ago. So now when you say this guy is out for illness, okay, he got sick this morning or he got sick last night. He has food poisoning and ate something, like, something he ate last night isn't doing well with him. We understand those things.
Especially because we know Dylan didn't travel with the team.
Yeah. It's like, if you just put that out there, transparency is important in sports. You don't see this happen in other sports because they understand they have to be transparent with everyone.
Hell, the NFL's putting an injury report out every single day of the week.
Every day of the week. And we're not even asking for that.
And they're a once-a-week league, too. They're playing once a week.
And I understand it's different because they practice every day and they do have an opportunity to do that. It's not like you don't know if a guy is going to play or not. You're talking to them throughout the week. You're asking them how their body feels. You know by Wednesday or Thursday if a guy's going to try and give it a go or not. And then you just put them on as game time decision. Then it's like, okay, the guy might play, he might not. Then it's up to us as people to then make those decisions and be able to infer that the way that we see it, because now we know. It's just a place of ignorance for fans, bettors, and everyone outside of the
media,
the in circle. Even the media. Like, just if you're not in the in circle, it's ignorance because you simply just don't know because you're not being presented the information. It's very different to be presented and then not take the information and then run with a different story. But to not have it at all, it leaves you just in this open space.
Right. And like yesterday, like, it would have been nice to know, like, hey, Dylan Ward has been placed on the active roster. going into their game against Saskatchewan. I didn't know that until I physically took myself to the news tab for transactions on the NLL website. That shouldn't be the case. That should be a social post from your league. That should be all over the place that players are active. Your team should be announcing that and it be in your face. And it was nowhere to be found until I just went and looked here. It's a transparency issue, like you said, that certainly needs to be fixed because it makes everyone outside of the players look absolutely stupid.
It does, and it's not a hard thing, and yeah, we're just asking for it a couple days earlier. Thursday, I think even Thursday works. I think it's a little tight for the Friday games.
Correct.
Wednesday would probably be better, but Thursday is doable. It gives most people 24 hours. Like, you could even put it out 5:30, 6:30 on a Thursday PM, and that's technically 24 hours before your first game. Maybe 5:00, depending on what time Halifax's game is if they're at home. And boom, like, you gave everyone a 24-hour notice. That's plenty of time. Probably would prefer 48, but 24 is good. That's doable. We're in
And
the
I'll
know.
even say, like, you can put a doubtful tag on someone. Doesn't mean they're necessarily out. And then by the time the game rolls around, it's like, oh, look, they're good to go. 48 hours later. We didn't know then, but now we know. But like, even the PLL gives us 48-hour, 7-hour time windows on injury reports. They're a once a week league, and they're practicing once a week, and they're all traveling into a designated place. Just like the NLL, you're traveling into your designated market. Like, 48 hours, I feel like, is not that big of an ask for the transparency of knowing who is in and who is out for a given week for a certain team. It's not that big of a deal. And you don't even have to designate what the injury is. You can do the whole lower body, upper body, chest, give it as basic as you want. But the transparency of knowing when guys are active or not needs to be more aware throughout the NLL in order for the entire sport of lacrosse to take that next jump forward, to be taken seriously as a major professional sport.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that Brett Frude could do. As commish, you just go to the league and you're like, hey, we need your injury report by this day, this time, and if it's not in, you get fined. Then the problem's solved. That simple. Because I'll tell you, they're probably not going to want to cough up money. And like, it might happen here or there where somebody forgets to send something and you get fined a little bit, but then it makes you be on your P's and Q's about getting your injury report in so it can get out to all of the necessary eyes that it needs to. And once again, like we talked about, it's really just the legitimacy of the sport. It will only help the legitimacy if people are seeing that it is being run just like a Big Four sport is being run. When you're running like the top leagues in the world, they're going to then give you a little bit more respect and tune in and be able to kind of keep up. But if we're not going to get an injury report until 2 hours before the game, they're going to tell you to piss off.
Yep. Like, and I felt for Hutton, like, he's been very on top of the gambling stuff with the NLL in particular for lacrosse right now, and is really one of the few people putting lines out there and stuff like that. And he flat out said, we're withdrawing our bet for Mammoth -1.5 because Dylan Ward is all of a sudden out. And again, that's nothing against Dylan Ward. That's on the NLL not requiring us to know that Dylan Ward did not travel to Ottawa to play in that game. And we didn't know until hours before game time.
Which is
embarrassing.
Crazy.
It's
Got to know earlier.
Have to. It's a must. So in the games last week too, Buffalo obviously clinched a playoff spot. Saskatchewan also clinched a playoff spot, even though they were dormant last week. The wing season, again, effectively over. There's still a way for them to make the playoffs, but I just don't see it the way they're playing. They can't score double-digit goals right now. I don't know what the hell is wrong. The offense is extremely broken. It shouldn't be this way. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what the communication in the locker room is, simply because I don't have post-game media access at all. Nobody in the media does with the Wings, and that's a different topic for a different day. That's been an ongoing thing all season, unfortunately. So I really have no answers. And it's unfortunate. It sucks. This season had so much high hopes for it. And unless they win out with a shit ton of help, it's another Wings season in the books without the playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see this coming, especially with the way they started out 5-2. It looked like the offense kind of found the pieces and the movements that were going to help them unlock what they had been struggling with the past couple of years, and it just never really came to fruition. It was eventually, that sixth, seventh, eighth game came, and there was like a flip in the switch. Like we talked about, the one injury that shouldn't affect an entire team, but it has, and it's been a huge damper on the Wings season. And I think that's an identity thing, locker room thing that they have to dive into over the next couple of weeks and into the summer. If they're able to get that together, they easily have one of the most talented rosters in the league. They just have to put it all together.
That is the frustrating part. It's not a lack of talent on the team. They are littered with talent. They are currently only above the Vegas Desert Dogs by proxy of tiebreak, because Toronto beat them head to head. The worst part about this too is, like, I don't even want them to lose out. I want them to win. I want them to fight for the playoffs, simply because these guys deserve that opportunity. But also, the Wings don't have a first round pick this year. They traded their first round pick. So there's no benefit for them to quote unquote tank the rest of the season, because you're not tanking for anything. You'd be benefiting another team. So you need to find a way to beat Ottawa on Friday night. You need to find a way to sweep Georgia. You need to find a way to go to Vancouver and beat Vancouver. And you need a lot of help along the way. And, first step is beating Ottawa at home. Win this home game against Ottawa. You leapfrog them by proxy of tiebreaker, and you go even with Ottawa, Albany, and Toronto. It sucks you don't have a tiebreaker against Toronto or Albany, so you also need them to lose down the stretch. But it's an uphill battle. It sucks. It's embarrassing. I don't know how you fix it. And to the rumored report that I've had a number of people in my DMs asking me about, that somebody put out there, that I think is just so irresponsible to do without any sort of true confirming of it, without any sort of basis behind it, saying that Comcast is going to be done with the Wings after this season and the team might fold. They're only averaging 6,600 people in attendance. Number one, that is irresponsible to put out, no matter who you are. I don't care if you have 50 followers. I don't care if you have 50,000 followers. To put that out without any base behind it or any valid truth behind it is flat out embarrassing and very irresponsible. Number two, I'll say this, and even if there is any truth behind it, if the Philadelphia Wings were to fold again, that is a horrendous sign, not only just for the Philadelphia Wings as an institution of the National Lacrosse League over decades, but it's a horrendous sign for the National Lacrosse League. Like, you cannot allow a franchise like the Philadelphia Wings to fold. That is a domino effect that the NLL cannot afford.
I don't necessarily think it's a domino effect. Like, I think a lot of other teams would still be okay, but I think it says a lot about your model as a league, and it says a lot about kind of your decision making for ownership. Because if you're not able to keep a team in a hotbed like Philly, then there's concerns for places that are not hotbeds. How are you supposed to expand this league into places where lacrosse isn't as big yet if you can't stay in a place where it is a very popular sport? That is the concern for the Wings folding. Like, if that were to happen again, that would be the main concern and where a lot of questions would come from. I think everything else around that would be okay for a while, but it would then just be that thing where you're not good at running a league. The NLL's business model does not work. So then people are going to start to buy out of it. But realistically, I think it's, like I said, it's more of a locker room thing because the talent is there. And 6,600 people, first off, there are what I can probably name 5 or 6 teams in the league that aren't averaging 6,600 people per game. So what is so wrong about getting almost 7,000 fans into the arena on a Saturday in Philly? You know how many things happen on a Saturday in Philly? And we got 7,000 people to commit a couple hours of their time to a lacrosse game. That's not bad. Would we like to see more? Obviously. But we'll take 7,000 on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Yeah. Yeah, because they could literally choose to just go sit in the park. They could choose to just go walk up the Rocky Steps and go back home.
Yep.
But they chose to come to the lacrosse game instead. Like, when looking at sports, you got to take things with a grain of salt most of the time.
Not every team is the Buffalo Bandits.
And there's so many different factors that go in.
Like, not every team is the Bandits. Not every team has the historical cachet like the Colorado Mammoth. 2 teams that have also won championships within the last 5 years.
Yep.
You know, not every team is that. I mean,
Calgary is averaging 7,500, 8,000. But did they not win 3 in a row? Have they not been to multiple NLL cups?
Did they
you
not
go
win
to
in 2019?
Yeah, like if you go to the championship multiple times, the fans are going to stick around. Now, they might dip out in droves as you're not so good, i.e. Saskatchewan, but look at them this year. They've climbed right back up the attendance rankings because they've been successful again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also another team that has three-peated in the past. When you have success, people will come. The Wings are a successful program. People will come if they're there.
Yep.
Just got to put the right people in the right places so that, people are more excited to see them play.
Yep. Great win for Vancouver last weekend. That gives them a tiebreaker over Georgia. Georgia's now sitting in 8th place in the standings, and Vancouver has that tiebreaker in hand, so they're ahead of them. And a great win for Albany. Albany's right back in the thick of things. They're 6-9. If Ottawa loses this week, they jump them in the standings. They're right back in the playoff hunt. And, I would say as of right now, mathematically, and just from a standpoint of looking at how congested things are from the 3 seed all the way down to the 13th seed with the Philadelphia Wings, like, nobody is truly out of it as we head into week 18 for the playoffs. Like, there's teams that are more out of it than others, but there's still opportunities for a lot of these teams to claw and battle their way if they get help as well.
This weekend is huge.
Absolutely.
With Ottawa in battle.
Ottawa playing Philly, San Diego playing Rochester.
Georgia's in battle.
With Halifax.
Colorado's in battle.
Every game has playoff implications this weekend.
Yes.
Ottawa versus Philly, San Diego versus Rochester, Vancouver versus Buffalo, Colorado, Saskatchewan, Halifax, Georgia.
But I'll say this. If Philly loses, they're done.
Done. They cannot
And
lose.
I will say, I think Toronto's done as well if Albany wins their next game. I think Toronto's done.
Which the next time those 2 teams play, it's Albany at Vancouver on April 4th, and then April 6th, Toronto plays at Vegas.
So, yeah, that next weekend is going to be a lot to look at with Albany.
These
and
next
Toronto
2 weeks
right
are
there.
huge.
Yeah.
And also last week, Vegas officially eliminated from the playoffs.
I mean, I don't feel confident about the next. We got to go battle with the Prairies again, and arguably one of the most important weeks of the season. And they've already clinched a playoff spot. Like, ouch.
Yeah. Crazy week. The standings in week 17. obviously Buffalo wins the Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup as well. So congratulations to them. Getting another trophy in the trophy case up there in Buffalo is huge.
That Halifax Ottawa game was probably the best game of the weekend.
Absolutely.
That was such a good game.
It
Well,
was that and Georgia Vancouver.
Yep, Georgia Vancouver, like we thought it would be. Both of those were phenomenal.
And Albany Buffalo became a great game.
It did. I had a tough time watching San Diego Calgary. It hurt.
Yeah, it was tough.
Because winning that game made me feel a lot better about our season. We would be.
You'd be 8-7.
No, we'd be. Yeah. No.
We'd be right there with Rochester.
We'd be 8-7. And I think we'd be above them because I think we have the tiebreaker over them for some weird reason. Because I don't think we've played them, but I think we have a tiebreaker over them.
I think they would be ahead of you by goal differential. So it would have depended on how you won that game.
Yeah.
Because I think goal differential is the next tiebreaker.
I think that's why, because I think the last time we were next to each other, we had them on goal differential.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would feel like regardless of what would happen this upcoming weekend, we would be in a much better position for playoffs. But now I don't necessarily feel that way after the loss to San Diego.
Yeah, and I mean, Trevor was back. That was a great sign just for the league, for the sport, to see the boy back out there. So
that was a great sign for the sport overall.
Yes, 100%.
Because we need him back outdoors too.
So that was great to see. And I mean, Ben McIntosh had one of his best games in a Seals uniform too. 10 points in this one. Crazy game from him. That's a vintage Ben McIntosh if I've ever seen it.
I hadn't seen that in a while. He looked really good.
Yeah. But your standings, Buffalo at the top. They clinched a playoff spot. They're 11-3. Saskatchewan's right there, though. They're 10-4. They also clinched a playoff spot. Halifax is 9-5. San Diego and Colorado are both 8-6. Rochester is 8-7. Reminder, Connor Fields is the MVP. Vancouver and Georgia are both 7-7. Vancouver has the head-to-head and goal differential tiebreaker right now. Calgary is 7-8. First team out right now of the playoff spot, but they're right there. Ottawa 6-8, Albany 6-9, Toronto 5-9, Philly 5-9, and eliminated from postseason contention the 3-12 Vegas Desert Dogs. Before we head into previewing Week 18, want to talk to you guys about our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company, guys. If you want to stand out in the crowd down the stretch here in the March to May, going into the hardcore conference season of college lacrosse, or getting ready for the PLL season and you want to rep your favorite lacrosse podcast, being OTB, you got to go to PHI Apparel Company. Get your official OTB apparel and merchandise. It's linked in the description, or go to phiapparel.co. And when you go to checkout, use code underground to get 10% off your next merch order. Again, that's phiapparel.co, code underground to get 10% off your next merch order. And stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Week 18 on deck. Friday night gets things going at the Wells Fargo Center. The Ottawa Black Bears, Philadelphia Wings. Nice little rivalry game. Then Saturday at 7 Eastern, San Diego at Rochester. At 7:30 Eastern, Vancouver at a sold-out Banditland. 9 Eastern, Colorado, Saskatchewan. And then 4 Eastern on Sunday, Halifax at Georgia. Deej, what are you looking forward to in the week that is Week 18 in the NLL?
I'm looking forward to being an absolute hater. Not even going to cap. I'm trying to be the biggest hater I can this weekend. My boys are off, but we need help. I love you, Lyle, but y'all need to lose. San Diego, at this point, you my big homie after last weekend. I need you to come through again and take them birds down. The Nighthawks cannot continue to soar. I also need them to take an L, please. I could care less who wins in the Ottawa-Philly game. Well, I guess I'd want Philly to win. Go Wings, I guess. Vamos. Maybe not.
Los Wings.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how we really feel about them at the moment. But
Philly, por favor.
We know the
That's what I feel like. I feel like Montoya with
Delay,
the
por
wings.
favor.
I feel like Montoya with the wings right now.
You finna go cheat? Get your
I'm about
get
to be
back?
on. I'm about to be on Survivor.
You about to get your get back?
Yeah, because I'm not going to be at the game tonight.
But we all know game of the week, 7:30 Saturday night, Vancouver Buffalo. It's gonna be actually a really fun game. Really excited to see Delbs play against that Buffalo squad and see what that offense is able to do against Vince and the Buffalo D. So this weekend is a little bit calmer, but there's still, like we said, lots of action going on and tons of playoff implications. So I am going to be like my boy Lawrence on TikTok and be a Division I level hater this weekend because we need help.
Yeah, it's calmer in the sense that there's less games, but every single game is impactful. Like these 5 games, these 10 teams, there is implications in the standings that we could be sitting here next week talking, and the whole table is flipped on its head with what could come out of these games, which is very exciting. That's what you want from a league like the NLL, where the parity is so high. You don't know what is going to happen, and that is due in part to the injury report not being out on time. But you never know, and that's what's exciting, especially with these marquee matchups across the board. Like these are all very, very intense, physical, speedy, crafty type of matchups across the board. And I think all of these teams match up very well. This is also Zach Higgins' return to the Wells Fargo Center for the first time since the trade. So that'll be really cool for him as well. And like you said, Christian Del Bianco versus Matt Vince, that's going to be electric. Colorado, Saskatchewan is going to be a dogfight. Those two teams always bring it when they play each other. And Halifax and Georgia, it's a battle of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde teams in the NLL. Those two teams, the most unpredictable week to week. So you never know. And then you get Connor Fields against, that San Diego offense and the young Rochester Nighthawks with Smithers, with Thomas McConvey, with Lance Berry as well. That's going to be I'm curious right now, and I'm going to check it as we record. I wonder what they're setting the over-under for that game at. Because the offenses in that game could make that thing be through the roof, and that's very exciting. Deej, what do you think the over-under is set at for San Diego Rochester?
I mean, 25.5.
Very close, 24.5.
That pisses me off.
24.5. It's tied with Halifax and Georgia for the highest over-under total of the weekend.
That pisses me off so much because I was bouncing back and forth in between my head about 24.5 or 25.5. And I should have went with my
love the over.
I should have went with my gut because I had 24.5. That was the first number that popped in my head. Like you asked me and my first number was 24.5. And I should have just said it flat out. And I would have just sounded like a genius. But no, I had to ponder it and think on it and go 25.5. So for all my bettors out there, whatever your gut is telling you, take it. This is why I don't bet. This right here is why I don't bet.
But hey, shout out to Michigan for being kind to your boy when he was betting. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, listen, you already know the one thing I will do for you is help you out and make sure that you got a nice parlay.
Man,
the sports IQ up here is something crazy. So I will help you cook up a crazy parlay that either is going to hit or is going to be one leg off. But I'm not putting my own money up for it.
Let's conjure one up for week 18. I'll give you all the lines, all the data. You tell me what you like, and we'll do like a 3-leg parlay that we'll put out for the people. Do you like anything in Ottawa and Philly? Or is that a game you stay away from? Ottawa's minus 1.5. The over-under's 22.5.
You said the line was what?
1.5. Ottawa's favored by 1.5.
I like that cover a lot from Ottawa.
So Ottawa to win by 1.5.
I would take that. for like everybody out there. And not because it's easy for them to win by 2 goals.
Philly
More
just can't
so,
score.
I say more so. I don't trust Philly to keep it within 2 goals, or within 1 goal. Like I don't expect this to be a 1-goal game at all. Like I think that's probably the safest bet of the weekend outside of the over in the Rochester game.
Yeah, I'll say for the parlay, I like the over 24.5 in Rochester.
What is the
San Diego.
line for the Georgia Halifax game?
Georgia's favored by 1.5.
And the over?
24.5. 24.5 as well.
I would slam that over. That 24.5 over doesn't stand a fucking chance.
I genuinely like the over in both of those games.
But definitely in that Halifax Georgia game, that's going to be like 13. It's going to be like 13-12, 14-13, something like that. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that.
And I mean, San Diego Rochester could be like 18-16.
Yeah, I don't trust either one of those to stand a chance on the under at all.
And then
I wish there were more player props because like
Vancouver and Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 2.5. The over under is 22.5.
22 for the Buffalo.
I kind of like the over in that
I
too.
kind of like the under low key.
And then the other game is Mammoth, Saskatchewan. Rusher favored by 1.5. The over under is 21.5.
Like, call me crazy, but I kind of see that Buffalo game ending like 11-9, 12-10, something like that. Like, a lot of their games have been lower scoring. Like, they had the one crazy outburst against Calgary where Calgary beat them 17-11. But, like, Saskatchewan 9-7, Buffalo or San Diego 13-12. They just beat somebody. I think it was Ottawa 11-6. Like, they're not really playing in the 13-14 against San Diego the first time they played them. Like 13-12.
Or do we like
Toronto.
the under? Do we like the under in Philly and Ottawa at 22.5?
Slam! I'd put my mortgage on that, and I ain't even got one.
So over in San Diego, Rochester, over in Halifax, Georgia, and under in Ottawa, Philly is plus 569. $10 to win 66.91.
That Buffalo game, I like the under in that a lot, though. Because what is it, 22.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that game.
Do we think Buffalo's going to win?
Yes, I do think Buffalo's going to win. I think it could be like 11-9.
So if we put Buffalo to win, that way we just like don't even have to risk the over-under in that one because you never know with Del Bianco in there too and the way that Vancouver's offense is playing. It's minus 270, but it bumps the parlay odds up to plus 817 to win $10 to win 91.70.
91.70
plus 817 odds. I'm gonna place it right now. Why not,
bro? You waste $10 at Wawa like it's nothing. You might as well try and get you a little cheese.
Why not?
You ain't gonna miss that $10.
Yeah, shout out to Michigan and Bryce Harper for letting me place that bet.
I said we could cook up something else for Michigan tonight.
True.
Trade Donaldson for 15 plus tonight.
Book it.
Him going against his old school boy finna go to work. And you could parlay it. Let's get Danny Wolf for a combined 12. I wish they did player props like that. For like points, rebounds, assists.
They do.
Oh, yeah. A combined 12 from Danny, points, rebounds, and assists. Let's get a double-double from Vlad, and let's say 10 plus from Trey. That's going to hit. That's going to hit.
Where is...
And whatever the line is at, Michigan's going to cover.
So you said 12 points from Trey?
I'd say 10 plus from Trey.
Because 10 plus is minus 200, 11 plus is minus 140, 12 plus is minus 105.
Well, shit, if I say 10, you might as well say 12 at 105. Like,
and then you said...
What's Vlad's double-double odds looking like? They're probably like hella, like you're not going to make any money off that. That man averages a double-double.
Vlad points and rebounds at 26 plus is the line is minus 130.
Yeah, because he go and smash that. Bro's gonna have like 21 combined at half. He's gonna have
And
like
then
15.6 rebounds at half. Like, come
Danny
on.
Wolf, points and assists. The line is 17 plus. It's minus 120.
See, yeah, maybe I would probably maybe parlay Trey with the spread because I think Michigan will cover the spread.
Because the line is plus 8.5.
Yeah, I think Michigan covers that. They haven't lost a game by more. The only team that they've lost to in the past month by more than 8 is Michigan State. Everybody
so
else, if they
Trey
beat them,
12 plus points, Michigan plus 8.5, and Vlad points and rebounds 26 plus is plus 375.
That's solid. I like that a lot. Danny Wolf might be us a little bit, but Vlad and Trey are not going to.
I put a 5-piece on it.
I love you, Danny.
There you go. There's your Michigan parlay for the night. We
Yep.
do have a couple voicemails.
Hey, I do have a bookie charge. I need 5% of all winnings. Don't play with me. No, I'm kidding. This is all free game. This is all free game.
We do have a couple voicemails before we get to our picks of the week. You can leave us a voicemail at the How We Live in hotline. It's linked in the description. Speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod. Leave us a voicemail. We'll react to it on every episode when you leave it for us. It's open 24/7, 365. Speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod, the How We Live in hotline. I believe this first one is from our guy, Aiden. So here we go.
Yo, how we living? It's Aiden from the Battery. My tradition, my superstition, my strategy, whatever you want to call it, still working. I did not watch the Firewolves game. Saw the result on Instagram, and it was a win. So that's a couple in a row now. They're getting hot at the right time. I'm gonna keep rocking with it as long as it's working. And I wouldn't want to be running into this team right now. And if they somehow make the playoffs, I certainly wouldn't want to meet them then. I hope you guys are doing well. Love the March Madness coverage. Go Firewolves.
Aiden, I'm going to need you to start watching these Firewolves games, my boy. I need you to start tuning in. It's appointment television.
I mean, yeah, you got a point there. He does kind of need to do that because if you didn't hear me earlier, Aiden, I'm a Division I level hater this week, and I need y'all to lose.
Well, they don't play this weekend, but they can lose to the bye week.
It's all one and the same.
They can lose to the bye week.
I mean, the only team that's ever really done that is the Detroit Lions.
And the New York Giants.
Are they a team though?
That's valid. Here is our next voicemail.
How we living, boys? This is Josh from the Lost in the Woods podcast, and I don't really have a question this week, but I just want to say, can we talk about the Woods and GM Joe Spallina making moves? The number 2 and number 3 pick in this year's draft? Things are way different. I am so excited, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on this blockbuster of a trade that the Woods made. Look forward to this week's episodes, boys.
Do you want to know my favorite bougie grocery store? Trader Joe's. Trader Joe been on one, bro. Of course we can talk about Trader Joe.
We're going to talk about Trader Joe after our NLL picks of the week. We're going to head on over to the pick pond first, feed some ducks. Maybe they got some food from Trader Joe's. Who knows? But we'll feed some ducks, and it is brought to you by our friends at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, Pittsburgh, and Maryland areas. You can also get Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And please drink responsibly. Deej, we start Friday night, Ottawa, Philadelphia. And for reference, like I mentioned at the top of the show, you had gone 2-5 in your picks last week. I went 3-4. That has you sitting at 55-45. I am at 51-49. Not great weeks for either of us.
I'm trying to hang on to this lead.
But we have 5 games to help us boost our records here. Ottawa, Philly. I'll tell you right now, I'm picking the Ottawa Black Bears because until the Wings prove that they can score on a consistent basis, I can't pick you to win games. If you don't score, you can't win. I'm taking Ottawa.
I'm going to go with Ottawa as well. I was not going to spare you guys this weekend. I don't have any trust in the Wings as of right now. And I probably won't be picking them for further notice. So, yeah, Black Bears it is this weekend.
To go along with us loving the over in this game, it's San Diego at Rochester. I think this is a huge game for both teams, but I also think it's a huge game for Rochester in particular to kind of showcase, like, hey, we've clawed and battled back from that beginning of the season slump and battled our way back into like a firm postseason position. If they can go out at home and beat this San Diego team, that would be huge. I just don't know if they have enough to stop the newly revived Trevor Baptiste, Zach Currier duo in the transition game. I do think they have the offense to combat it, though. And I believe in this Rochester team a ton. It's why we picked them as our League Pass team. I'm going to take Rochester to get a decisive home win that is going to make people truly start believing that this Nighthawks team has what it takes to go on a run once May rolls around. Give me the Nighthawks.
This is tough for me because, like I said, I need to be a Division I level hater this weekend. That's kind of really the only way Calgary is in a better position than they're in at the moment to be successful this weekend. So that really changes how I look at these games. I think Calgary is better than Rochester, and San Diego just really gave us the work. I'm going to go with San Diego. I do still love you, Rochester. You are still our, League Pass team of the year, but I'm hating. Go Seals.
Arguably game of the week, Vancouver at Buffalo. Going to be extremely fun lacrosse to watch. Like, if you want a game to kind of just sit back, get your popcorn out and watch, I highly recommend watching this game. I think it's going to be 2 very fun offenses going head to head. 2 very elite goaltenders, future Hall of Famers. And I think the biggest question is the defenses for both teams, honestly, and how they can kind of sustain themselves in a battle like this. I hope Vancouver keeps this close. I want to see them compete in an environment like this, in a situation like this. It's not a foreign territory for Kurt Malosky and Christian Del Bianco, but the rest of this team to go in and battle Buffalo in front of 19,000 plus is going to be fascinating to watch. I'm going to take Buffalo to win, but I want to see Vancouver compete. I don't want this to be a blowout. I don't want this to be over by, halftime or midway through the third quarter. Make this a game for 4 quarters, and let's see if Vancouver's truly ready to compete and be a playoff team. But I am going to take Buffalo to get the win overall.
I'm going to take Buffalo. I was a little, worried about them already clinching playoffs and kind of taking some steam off. But I think with Saskatchewan right behind their back and Buffalo most likely wanting the 1 seed, it's going to keep them hungry a little bit. And they're going to want another win, especially against a guy like Kurt Malosky, who they've seen beat them on that other bench plenty of times before. I'm going to take Buffalo for a home win in front of 19,000 plus.
We go to 9 Eastern, the nightcap on Saturday. Colorado at Saskatchewan. Should be a doozy of a game. This is a great nighttime, lacrosse East Coast night game. Saskatchewan has a playoff spot clinched. They're trying to battle down Buffalo for that 1 seed. They're not far behind, especially after Buffalo went 1-1 last weekend. Colorado trying to catch up to Halifax and Saskatchewan in the standings. This is a big game for both of these teams. I just think Saskatchewan has won the home field advantage, and they're healthier as far as we know. So I'm going to go with Saskatchewan to win at home.
Yeah, I think Saskatchewan has really just been far too good this year. Frank Skiggs has been great between the pipes, and then on the other side, Connor Kiernan and Zach Mans have absolutely lit the board on a regular over there. So I expect that to continue for them, and I do expect them to continue to put pressure on Buffalo. So I'm going to rock with the Rush as well.
You thinking of Mike Triolo, not Connor Kiernan?
Probably.
Big Tree. Final game of the weekend, another over that we absolutely love. 4 Eastern time, Halifax at Georgia. Deej, how do you see the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde Cup going down in Duluth?
Gas South is a very weird arena.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that like provides a home turf advantage, but doesn't at the same time. Like you can tell that Georgia really enjoys playing in Gas South Arena, but you can also tell that other teams love coming to Gas South Arena and beating them there.
Mm-hmm.
And just based off the last couple weeks, I think Halifax has played slightly better ball than Georgia. I'm gonna roll with the road team here and take Halifax to win.
I am with you on that. I think Halifax has just shown more in the last couple of weeks in terms of production, in terms of consistency, and this is another great goaltender matchup, another great offensive matchup. That's why we love the over in this one. But I'm gonna go with Halifax to get a dub as well. You know, they're gonna be sitting and watching San Diego, Colorado, and Saskatchewan beat up on each other the night before. They need to win as well in order to kind of maintain standing there. Not that Georgia doesn't need to win, because if they lose, they're going to fall out of playoff contention for the time being. But Halifax, if they want to stay towards the top of the table, they're going to have to really bring it in this one. So I am going to go with Halifax, and that makes our picks look like this. We both have Ottawa. I have Rochester. You have San Diego. We both have Buffalo, we both have Saskatchewan, and we both have Halifax. And those are our NLL Week 18 Picks of the Week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer.
Kenwood!
All right, Deej, it's PLL time, and it is brought to you by our PLL App Code. Guys, the PLL app is the most interactive sports app on the market for any sports league. It's gamified. There's trivia. There's tasks to complete every single day to make sure you gain experience points, level up, and you unlock rewards in the app. It's your go-to for up to the second PLL news, WLL news, and more. Download the PLL app, and then when you go to the redeem code section, use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD, and you get 500 XP on your account. Again, redeem code section in the PLL app and use code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your account. Deej, Trader Joe has been rocking and rolling this week. Joe Spallina not leaving anything behind, acquiring the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft for one Owen Grant, going to the Boston Cannons. Number 1, how do we feel about said trade? Number 2, are we surprised that Joe Spallina was ready to move on from Owen Grant as quickly as he was as the GM of this team? And I do want to bring up the verbiage that was placed in the PLL's official announcement of the trade, because I did find it very fascinating, to which one of our pals, and I cannot think of his Twitter handle right now, and of course Twitter is down, so I can't search it. Yeah, Twitter's just not refreshing right now because Spaceboy is a fucking moron.
I just deleted all my social media.
But apologies to who brought it. I think it was Jackson Van Vlake, if I'm not mistaken. apologies if it wasn't, or if it was, and I can't think of it. He asked if this was potentially the quote unquote Chris Gray rule coming into effect, which is an interesting thing to consider because on the PLL's official graphic for the Owen Grant trade, where the Redwoods received the 3rd overall pick in the 2025 college draft and the Cannons' 4th round pick in 2026 in exchange for the uber talented Owen Grant. It states if Owen Grant is designated to the holdout list prior to 2025's training camp, the Boston Cannons will receive the California Redwoods' earliest 2026 college draft pick outside of the first 6 overall picks. So it's a top 6 protected pick. If the Redwoods were to finish within the top 6, they keep that pick, and then it would default to a 2nd round pick. Otherwise, that pick's going to the Cannons. Interesting terms, first of all. First time I think we've ever seen anything like that in the PLL. Number 2, first time we've ever seen a protected pick in the PLL to that degree, which is very fun. But Deej, the floor is yours. Your thoughts on Owen Grant heading to the Boston Cannons and Trader Joe now having 2 of the top 3 picks in this college draft.
My first thought is maybe he feels he's injury prone. Okay, I get that. You don't want to constantly deal with a guy that's going to be on and off of injury report or has had multiple injuries, and you're concerned about him getting another one. Also, my next thought was maybe he knows something about defensive talent that I don't. He's the GM of this team for a reason. I'll tell you right now, if I applied to be the GM of the Redwoods, they would probably give me a genuine laugh and a push out of the door. Not that I don't know ball, because I think I do a pretty good job of displaying things and breaking things down and honestly making some pretty good decisions that several coaches in the PLL have taken heed to and have had some success with. But I'm just not a GM. I don't have enough under my belt to be one. So maybe there is something he doesn't know about OG or about the system that's going to be incorporated soon that OG doesn't quite fit into. And then my next thing was the Chris Gray rule. I think I brought this up before a lot of other people even thought about this with this trade. It was one of the first things I said to you guys was, well, what if it's a job thing? And that's why he may not be available. Because that's what it was with Chris Gray. And I think that's what it's been with a lot of guys who have retired early, is that it's not worth the trouble of finding out when you're available and when you're not, and playing sometimes and not playing because of your job. They're like, I'll just have my job. So I wonder if Owen Grant is in one of those scenarios where he can play box for Vancouver because it's right there. It's almost not going anywhere for him, versus having to travel every weekend for the PLL. It may be something that Joe simply just didn't want to work with either. I think there's a lot of reasons for why. If it turns out that it was none of those things, I would genuinely question why, because I feel like he is a top 2 poll on the Redwoods right now, and that's counting closed D and LSMs. He's top 2. So I don't quite believe in giving up what I would say are proven players for draft picks, but it is what it is. And I think that he has made a lot of smart moves, and this may turn out to just be another one. It's one of those moves that we're going to look at hindsight. I think right now everybody kind of just they had that Quinta Brunson look that I put out in that GIF when I first saw this tweet. And it literally was just her looking back and forth like, are we for real? And I think that's kind of just how everybody's looking at it. We're all kind of just like, what's going on? Why did this happen? And then I think after this year, or maybe after next year, we're really going to come back and look at this trade and go, okay, that's why this happened. Boom, 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 boom. And it'll make a lot more sense. I think right now it's kind of just a huge eye opener for everyone.
It's a great move for the Cannons too. Obviously, they had multiple first round picks, and now this is essentially them using a first-round pick for Owen Grant. To me, it also kind of signals potentially Cade Van Raphorst not returning to the Cannons, if I had to make a guess. And I quote tweeted the trade. I said, pairing Owen Grant with Ethan Rawl at LSM, that's a damn good duo. Pairing Owen Grant with Bryce Young and Garrett Epple, that's a damn good close D. Either way you put Owen Grant into that Cannons roster, it's a nasty unit together, whether it be at LSM or close D.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of ways for OG to fit into the system and be a star, but there's a lot of ways where you could see maybe he doesn't quite fit the system as well because of his style of play. So there's a lot of moving pieces with all of these teams, and right now I think the Redwoods have the most moving pieces with so many new staff coming in. I think the Chaos are going to be the same way pretty soon. They've made a few moves, but I think they're going to start to make a few more. So I'm not the least bit surprised to see him so active early. OG was just not the first person I saw him dealing away.
Yeah, pretty surprising trade. Let us know how you feel about the trade, one way or another. If you're a Cannons fan, if you're a Redwoods fan, or you're just a fan of the league, or you're just a fan of OG, or how you feel about the clause in the trade via the PLL's official announcement of the deal, because to me, that's the most fascinating part of the trade for sure. And then on top of that, today, as we record on Friday, just a couple hours ago, official, the Denver Outlaws have struck a trade with your California Redwoods, Deej, as they have traded former 2022 Rookie of the Year Brendan Nichtern to the Redwoods in exchange for the 26th pick, which is a fourth-round pick, in the 2025 college draft. The Redwoods had 2 fourth-round picks, so they dealt the second pick in the fourth round away. They still have pick number 7 in the fourth round. So using an asset of value there to go and get a former Rookie of the Year, a former top 10 draft pick in Brendan Nichtern to add to this offense. Obviously hasn't played in a few years due to military obligations. Number one, when I saw this trade, I was very excited because that means Brendan Nichtern is going to be playing lacrosse again. From multiple reports I saw from one Topher Adams, our guy, Denver Outlaws beat writer, said that there is very much a positive inclination that Brendan's military obligations are not going to interfere this season with Brendan's ability to play. And that is the full intention of Brendan Nichtern, is to play this season. As a fan of the sport, I'm excited to see Brendan Nichtern out on the field. And for a fourth round pick in this year's college draft, I love this move by Joe Spallina.
Can you do the thing? The blue screen thing with red and white letter, the number, red and white numbers, not numbers, letters. Damn, red and white numbers, circle, thingamabob.
Oh, are we talking about? Are we talking about this?
Yes, we're talking about this. We're talking about this. At exactly 2:21 p.m., which is 45 minutes ago, the Trader Joe, GM of the Redwoods, California Redwoods, that is, Joe Spallina, said in response to Dan Arestia, he is 100% available and fired up to be back. Target emoji.
There you
Brendan
go.
Nichtern is playing lacrosse this summer in a California Redwoods jersey alongside Ryder Garnsey, Dylan Malloy,
Wes Berg, Jackson Morrill,
Romar Dennis, Charlie Bertrand, my Kirsty guy. Love it. I love this pick, like you said. That was the other thing, is this was a very strong pick. Being able to go get a
Ryan
guy like
Ogevin, Ronan Jacoby,
going to get a guy like Nichtern for a fourth round pick, huge. That he easily could still be a first or second round guy where they're like, hey, we want an early pick for him, or we have nothing for you. To be able to go out and get him for a fourth, I think is low key a steal. And I'm excited to see how this offense comes together. This was a phenomenal move by Trader Joe.
To have Nichtern kind of play at X in a non-traditional X type of player, because Nick Turn can be versatile, unlike Rob Pennell, and that's no slight to Rob. He's just a traditional X attackman, but you can see Nick Turn playing in a multitude of ways. But to have an offense, triangle wise, of Nick Turn at X and then your wings being Westberg and Ryder Garnsey is very fun to think about.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how they go with this. I think that we might see a little bit more of an open set that just allows them to freely move. And you see a lot of guys in a lot of different places, dodging from a lot of different places and looking to make some of the defenders a little more uncomfortable than they're used to. Nick Turn dodging from up top against Matt Dunn. You get Ryder going from up top or from behind X. I think there's some ways to make defenders kind of uncomfortable defending from positions they don't defend from often. And with the skill that they have, the passing ability on this team is what I'm really excited about. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks on this team in terms of like good passers, not like sit back, direct the offense, but Nick Turn, if you got a second open with your stick, he's going to put it right on it. Ryder, great passer when he has to pass, chooses to. Ryan Ogevin, great passer. Jackson Merrill, great passer. Like, this is a team that's going to be full of guys who can dish the ball. Charlie Bertrand, Kirsty, also great passers. This is going to be a team that's going to move the ball around a lot faster, which I feel was a problem for them the last couple of years. They got stuck in their sticks a lot. I don't think that's the case moving forward with a team that is so almost pass heavy. Like, almost everybody that they've picked up now is a pass first person. I think Romar is shoot first. I think Dylan Malloy is shoot first. And I think Ryder is shoot first. Westberg, shoot first. Everyone else after that, I think, is pass first. Maybe we put Charlie Bertrand in there. But that's 5 people out of your list of 15, 20 attackmen / midfielders.
And Ronan is such a good combo of both. Where Ronan,
you have a lot of combo guys. Like,
if Ronan is like available to shoot, he's gonna rip it. But Ronan's also such a very awesome passer and a very different passer than anybody this Redwoods team has really ever had.
I think they're all like that in terms of like, they're all guys that if you leave them open and give them a clean shot, they're going to take it and they're going to finish it. But they're all kind of looking to pass first. And that's something I've been working on my high school team with, is we have to be more excited to assist our teammate than to score the goal. It should feel better to you that you helped your teammate get on the board than it does for you to get on the board yourself. Not that it doesn't feel good to score, but when you start to play to help your homie out, it changes the way that the game is played. And I think that's where this Redwoods team is transitioning to, is a team, an offensive side of the ball that is happy to give it up first and to score second, which I think is always the motto to have. So I really like the way this offense is coming together. Now, all of my questions are on the defensive side. Are we keeping Chris Collins around? Are we changing anything on that way? Who are going to be the poles that start? What does our rope unit look like? But really, that's now the shift of the focus, not only for, I feel, myself, but for Joe Spallina as well, which I feel he's waiting more so for the draft. I think there's a lot of short stick, D-mid, and pole talent in this draft compared to the last couple.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, Joe Spallina was on the Mitchell Pelkey Lacrosse show. Very fun listen. Definitely go check that out. Shout out to those boys.
I want to know who the burner is.
I want to know who both burners are.
I mean, the other one I get, like, you graduate and then you go get a burner, like, you're a clown. But like, it kind of makes
I
like
interpreted that, and it might have just been from the clip. I thought he was saying like it was a grad student.
I mean, even if you're a grad student, that makes sense too. Like, you're not playing. Like, most grad students aren't playing anymore. And if you are, it's at another school. Like, whatever. I see it as like maybe a thing like Ryder was his first year coaching at Notre Dame, where he was a grad assistant coach. I can see it being something like that, which, like, he wouldn't be the first coach to have a burner. You're just lame.
I want to know who they are. I can't.
Now I want to know who the player is that's like a top level player on a good team right now. Like, what are you doing with a burner? Like, I mean, not that you can't have a burner account, go ahead, but like, why are you trashing other people?
Right.
like you're pointing back to yourself in some way. You know, for Joe to have found out is interesting. I'm excited for him to expose who they are.
I need him to expose them. Like, I need oxygen to breathe. But yeah, I mean, on top of that, like he said, it's championship or bust when you're in pro lacrosse. The Redwoods now have 4 draft picks still. 3 of them are top 10 picks. And for a team that not necessarily lacking identity, but is looking for that new refresh and resurgence of their identity, to have 3 top 10 picks in this draft is big time. And I took away that it certainly feels like Deej, and I could be wrong, but from his one quote when they were doing their start bench cut, it certainly feels like Chris Kavanaugh is going to be a member of this Redwood squad, just from the relationship that the Spalinas and the Kavanaughs have.
I think there's a possibility. I think it's just he admires the way they play. I think that he's one of those people where it's like, if I have an opportunity to choose my teammates for certain things, they're in my group of people. Like, I think he kind of explained that perfectly. I don't think I want the Kavanaughs around me other than to play lacrosse or to throw a banger party. Like, I feel like those are the 2 things that their family are just top notch at. Not that they're not good at other things, but the pinnacle is up here and they're up there. So I think it's like one of those things where he's like, hey, I got a shot at Chris Cav and it fits our model. Why wouldn't I? Look at the way they play lacrosse. But he's also like not shoving it down everybody's mouth. Like, oh yeah, they're definitely better than the Thompson brothers. He's just being realistic about it. Like, hey, it's not that they're not as good as these 2 guys. They're just good at other things as well. It's like, you have to read the room while also knowing who's there. And I think that is what he does a really good job of, is knowing that the Cavs are a certain type of people and they only fit in certain type of rooms. And he feels he can make a room that fits them. But if he gets into a room and is like, this isn't the room for them, he's not pulling them in there either. So I think it's one of those.
The way I interpreted it was like, this isn't him fully like saying, and it wasn't even from the other 2 families that were included in that segment, but it was just like, oh, you're bringing up that, the Spalinas and the Kavanaughs, those backyard barbecues are a time. Like, I feel like the relationship is already coexisting there, along with, Ryder Garnsey being in the fold on this Redwoods team. I'm sure Spalina's saying like, hey, does he fit, this team, and kind of picking Ryder's brain as well. I think that would be organizational malpractice to not do that. And now that you have 2 arrows to throw in that top 3, you're not limiting yourself where it's like, oh, I do like a McAdory here, but, Chris Cav, like, I know his style. Now you have a chance, if you want to take both, you can. And it certainly feels like Joe Spalina is going on the offensive full blown in this draft, especially with these first 2 picks.
Yeah, I think he's here to make changes quickly, here to bring this team back to that 2019 version, which was in the championship game, and here to supplement what he already has. He knew what he was coming in with. He knew, kind of how the game works, and he's a very great evaluator of talent, and he's showing that quickly. I think he's showing that sometimes people let their feelings get in the way of their job. I think he's doing a great job of coming in and saying, hey, I might really like you as a person, but I don't like you as a lacrosse player for this team. So no matter how much I like you as an individual, you're not fit to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you are perfect to be here, so I'm going to do what I need to get you here. He's one of those people. It's all about the connections and how they fit, and he's here to find the right people to be in the Redwoods locker room to bring them back to the pinnacle of the PLL. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job at that, which is why you see him moving so quickly. I don't think this will die down until probably after the draft.
Yeah.
I think he will continue to make very aggressive moves until like right before the draft. And then after that, I think he's just going to completely slow all the way down. We might see one in-season trade with him if he doesn't like something that is happening within the team. but I think most of the season we'll see him relax and kind of watch his work, so then he can go back to work as a GM in the offseason and make more moves.
100%. And I do love this edition. If you haven't been on the PLL website in a while, click that draft tab, because there's a new tab to not only showing the draft order and where teams lie with their draft picks, but there's a brand new tab for Adam Lamberti's 2025 College Big Board, that shows players across the board positionally, where they rank, the change in rank week to week. I love this. Adam does a phenomenal job covering the draft, and is a great evaluator of talent. So definitely check that out if you're a draft head, because it's great stuff, and Adam does a really good job. We're going to get Adam on hopefully prior to the draft a couple of times to really break down things. But right now his top 8 in terms of, that first round, he's got CJ Kirst, Chris Cav, Ben Wire, Andrew McAdory, Sam King, Coulter Mackesy, Brendan Lavelle, and then Sam English is his top 8 right now.
This might sound crazy, but I really like Sam English or Ben Ramsey at 2 for the Woods in terms of what they need at the moment. I don't think they need another offensive piece. There's way too many of them down there at the moment anyway. I think a short stick D mid would be the perfect move for them, which is why I say go with Ben Ramsey. But if you want to get a mid that could maybe fill in both roles or be a flex guy, Sam English is a perfect example of that for Syracuse.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have been speculating like McAdory and Cav being like the 1-2 duo for the Woods there. And I mean, you never know. We've seen guys fall in the draft, a la Brendan Nickturn. You never know who's going to be available at 10. Asher Nolting fell to 10.
Oh, I thought you was going to say Kirsty was going to be available after.
Oh, no. No. I'm going to bring that up right now.
No, he's not.
Because
DJ, your boy said over his dead body.
I have a declaration to make. This is the first time I've ever been fired up about Bill Tierney. This is the first time I saw something Bill Tierney said, and I said, you know what? Fuck yeah, coach. Let's go. Bill Tierney with the quote of the offseason to silence the doubters. Also, diabolical work by the PLL graphics team with that graphic. Because I saw that and I genuinely triple taked. I said, huh?
You said when his funeral?
I said, whoa. I was like,
he died?
Whoa. Wait.
Like he died? No
Bill
way.
Tierney dropping in reference to the possibility of creating the number 1 overall pick with the quote of the century saying they'll have to attend my funeral to get that deal done. I said, let's go. I'm ready to go to war with Bill Tierney now. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear from my head coach. He's not afraid to sling it now. And I
said you want the first. Said you want the first. You got to catch me in the middle of the ring.
Oh, I
toe to toe, my guy. You got to take me out the game.
Fired up when I saw that quote. I said, let's go. That's the Bill Tierney I want to hear.
I just want to say I'm still extremely upset that the Redwoods decided to win in Denver. Just want to put that out there. Just want to say that. We could have just lost in Denver and, had the number 1 overall pick. But what do I know?
Hey.
Not like I brought it up. I said we should just do it. I'm not even that kind of guy. I'm not like a guy that tells you to tank or lose games or whatever. But that's
a very rare circumstance where like that's acceptable.
Need that. I need that.
Also the quotes. If you want a good laugh, go to the PLL's post with that graphic and just read the quotes. Kyle Thomas White saying, Jesus Christ, guys, I thought he died for a second. To which the K9 crew also commented, the Water Dogs fan supporter group, the fate of the universe is on the line. The Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. I want CJ Kirst.
I do want to see. I want CJ Curse bad, bro. That was for the Woods, and they did exactly what I said they should do. Move RP Tree so CJ Curse can take that. And now he's not even going to be available to do it.
We don't want no puppy. We want a big dog. Shout out to Brandon Graham. CJ Curse is that big dog. What a great quote. Like, genuinely, Water Dogs fans, that quote right there should give you a new lease on belief in Bill Tierney. Because that, to me, is like, okay, he's ready to rock and roll, knows this team has what it takes. Let's add that final piece, being CJ Cursed. And it sucks that Zed Williams is out for the season, more than likely, because I would have loved to have seen Zed in this offense as well. But to have Cursed, Kieran, and Michael Sowers together on one field together is going to be nasty, nasty work. And I'm just glad Bill Tierney knows the vision, and CJ Curse is going to be a Water Dog.
I mean, if he wants to slip on the vision and, you know, draft someone else, like I don't know, Chris Cav, Sam King, Coulter McAsee's pretty good. Mike Kelly.
But yeah,
You know
I'm fired up.
Mike Kelly's out of Denver. I heard he likes Denver guys. So I mean, just saying, Mike Kelly's on the board if he wants to take him.
I'm pumped.
We'll gladly take CJ Curse.
Some other podcast quotes this week. Rob Pennell saying that he's excited he doesn't have to deal with Matt Dunn anymore is very, very funny. He was on Scott Ratliff and Kyle Hartzell's new podcast that kind of came out of the clouds. I got a suggested post from their podcast on Instagram as I was scrolling one day, and I sent it to Hoots, and I was like, when the fuck did this become a thing? Because obviously Scott Ratliff, friend of the program. But shout out to those two doing the damn thing as they kind of give you a behind the scenes look. I hope it lasts. A lot of these former PLL player podcasts don't necessarily last all that long. I hope it lasts because I think Kyle Hartzell and Scott Ratliff are almost like two diametrically opposed personalities where like they're so different in so many ways, but they work together so well in a conversational podcast platform type thing. And that's not a bad thing. Like they're just two very different personalities. So I hope it works. So check out Over the Head podcast. Shout out to those boys. Maybe we'll do a collab with them if they're down. That'd be a ton of fun to have a crossover event with them. And happy to see Scott, kind of back in the lacrosse world a bit because he's a brilliant lacrosse mind.
Yes. Miss Scott Ratliff out on the field. Going to be excited to tune into their pod and check some of that out.
And also in the news, shout out to the Water Dogs for sharing our clip with Matt DeLuca from the summer.
Mama, I made it.
Not only did we make it, they literally featured your face in that post.
Like a couple times. Like I was all over it. Like, hey, he asked good questions. He want to know what the iPad about.
That was such a great question.
It was because bro is a beast with the iPad. Like I had to get the behind the scenes on it. And like we see a lot of those backup goalies do a lot of great things with that iPad, but like nobody ever asked them like, okay, like does that iPad really make you feel like you're in the game, or like is it just an iPad that you're there to make sure things don't go wrong? Like tell us about the role of having that iPad and how important it makes you to the team. I don't know how that hasn't been a question asked before, but he gave us a phenomenal answer.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw that post scrolling by and I saw our colors on the name card, I was like, whoa.
Hold on.
Hold the phone. And then I just kept scrolling through, and then there was multiple things from that interview, and I was like, this rocks.
Yes.
Just further proof that the league listens and views and watches the show.
And if you don't,
you're missing out.
Just let the league tell you. They'll tell you.
I think that's really it from PLL this week. Obviously, Dylan Malloy, which we touched on, signed with the Redwoods. Again, further proof that Nat must have passed that episode along to Trader Joe and said, hey, go get that boy too. before the Chaos go and swipe him up, because Chaos also signed a bunch of guys from Champ Series, but they're signing all the Boston Cannons because they signed JJ Silstrop this week too. And I said, I guess Roy Colsey and Spencer Ford really like what they saw from the Championship Series champion Boston Cannons, because they've signed or traded for like 3 or 4 of those boys now since they've taken over. So yeah, that's your PLL free agency and off-season news there. We'll wrap up with Deej taking us through the college game. It's brought to you by our friends over at FOCO. They are our presenting partner for Underground Madness 2025, our college basketball extravaganza coverage. We have a great interview on the main pod with Tyler Lochte, who is the student media broadcaster for the University of Maryland, who called Derek Queen's buzzer beater against Colorado State. A very fun interview. Tyler's great and awesome. Sit down with him. Definitely go check that out. FOCO is powering our bracket challenge, and if you're not in our bracket challenge, you're missing out competing against me, Deej, Hoots, and allegedly Blaze Reardon. So join our bracket challenge, because the winner is getting a sweet prize pack from our friends at FOCO. And you can use our link in the description now through the end of the tournament. Use that link so FOCO knows you're coming from us. And when you go to checkout, use code underground10 and you'll get 10% off your purchase from our friends at FOCO at checkout. Again, use the link, code underground10, get 10% off your next purchase from our friends at FOCO. The presenting partner of Underground Madness 2025 is our friends at FOCO. Deej, take us through the college game upcoming. Plus, on top of that, in the PLL app this week, you have a chance to win some sick swag from TLN just for playing their college pick'em. If you go 5 for 5 in the pick'em this week, you have a chance to win a new hat from TLN that look absolutely sweet. I'll pull up those games as you take us through what's upcoming in the college game.
I just want to first start off last week. Excuse my language, everyone, but fuck the Terps. Go blue, baby. 4th time in a row, Michigan owns Maryland in lacrosse. Michigan is a lacrosse school. Oh, we beat y'all in basketball recently. We beat y'all in football recently. Y'all don't got a hockey team. We beat y'all in women's basketball. Think we beat y'all in women's lacrosse. Wait, no, they haven't played yet. But I'm putting my money on Michigan. They've been hooping. Better than y'all in track, better than y'all in baseball, better than y'all in softball. I just think Michigan is better than Maryland. Anybody got an argument? Talk to me. I'll argue with you all day. Go blue. But also, another D3 shout out. Christopher Newport and Tufts gave us the game of the year with the call of the year, because the ref got it right in like real time. He somehow saw that shot didn't actually go in. We got phenomenal tape from someone on the sideline that showed that it actually never went in. And then Tufts would go on to win that game. Sad, unfortunate mistake on the other side, where the refs may have possibly gotten it wrong, but then the feed that they were given during the game was not any better to make the call. So Penn State was, misfortunes of a possible bad call. This was those were the 3 big stories from last weekend. Going into this weekend, kicking it off at 11 a.m., we have some mid-major Division I lacrosse. Queens and Mercer on ESPN Plus. Manhattan and Canisius on ESPN Plus as well. Loyola, Maryland, who is, check notes, still winless. Not undefeated. They are winless.
They are defeated. Whenever I hear Canisius, I always have just the internal monologue to just want to audibly say, bless you.
That's so funny. They're going to take on Lehigh as they look for their first win. ESPN Plus at noon. Detroit Mercy. What up, D? By the way, it's in downtown Detroit for anyone who doesn't know. They're taking on Lemoyne at noon as well on ESPN Plus. 12th ranked Fairfield, who is undefeated, taking on Stony Brook at noon. Air Force in Jacksonville, ESPN Plus on noon. Marist and Sacred Heart, noon on ESPN Plus. Utah Bellarmine, UMBC and Bryant, also noon, ESPN Plus. Penn State, Maryland playing on the awful Big Ten Network Plus at noon. That's a 6 versus 2 matchup being played on the worst streaming device possible. We have to do better. Can we get that on Big Ten Network at the least? the real Big Ten network, so we can watch it on Fox Sports for those of us that stream, not BTN Plus. I think that's a travesty that we get a 6-2 matchup in that kind of manner. Hobart and High Point are playing on ESPN Plus at noon, alongside ranked Princeton and Dartmouth. North Carolina Army, Princeton 4, Dartmouth 18, North Carolina 5, Army 9, Duke 11, Notre Dame 7. That's ESPNU for the Duke Notre Dame game. The other two on ESPN Plus. Those are all ranked matchups. 15 ranked Georgetown taking on Providence at noon as well. 16 ranked St. Joe's has UMass at noon on ESPN Plus. 12:30, which is a very weird face-off time for a college lacrosse game. Number 1 Cornell takes on Penn. 12:30 ESPN Plus. Vermont and America's team from last year, NJIT. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. Mercyhurst Robert Morris. UMass Lowell and Albany. Binghamton and 13 ranked Harvard, all 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus. ACC Extra, 8 ranked Syracuse against Virginia at 1 p.m. And then over on BTN Plus, both 3 ranked Ohio State and Rutgers, and then 19th ranked Michigan hosting 14th ranked Johns Hopkins University. I might go to that game. Those are both 1 p.m. starts. St. Bonaventure taking on 10th ranked Richmond. What up, Spiders?
Look at that. Where are you when DJ turned Richmond's season around?
Hey, I just keep doing it.
The Phillies, the Redwoods, the Richmond Spiders.
They're 2 p.m. plus against St. Bonaventure, right alongside Navy and Colgate at 2 p.m. plus, or 2 p.m. Those are both on ESPN Plus, excuse me. Brown and Yale, 3:30 p.m. ESPN Plus. Holy Cross takes on Boston U, 4 p.m. ESPN Plus. And then 20-ranked Denver host Nova to close the day out at 5 p.m. Nothing on Sunday, but we do get some matchups on Tuesday. 1-ranked Cornell hosting Albany. 4-ranked Princeton hosting Lehigh. So make sure you got your popcorn out. Make sure you got your betting slips ready. We're going to have a fun weekend of lacrosse.
Before I give you the matchups for the TLN college matchups, I am obligated to share this clip from our good friends Stick Talk. I don't know if you've seen this, and I really hope you haven't. This shit is so goddamn funny. I cannot wait for you to see this.
And so it's only right that this week I bring up a specific team that has had probably the worst fall from grace I've ever seen in my life. Mr. Diggs Tate, let me ask you a question here, son. Are you familiar with the school Loyola, Maryland?
I am, yeah.
How many L's are in the word Loyola?
I believe there's 2 L's.
You're wrong. Loyola has 8 L's.
Hey, bro. He sounds like Kanye from that TMZ meltdown where he was.
You're wrong.
He's in there yelling at them people talking about 7 opioids. He's like, "You're wrong. It's 8. 8. I said 8.
Oh
8
my
L's.
God.
They got 8 L's. The doctors made me take 8 L's."
Shane is so fucking funny when he does Shane A. Smith. It's not even funny. Oh my God.
That was fantastic.
That is hilarious. Hilarious.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Also, because he emphasized so much there, I saw a TikTok the other day. It said 90s kids and why they emphasize words to get the point across. And it was just a compilation of Josh from Drake and Josh emphasizing every word. The one that always gets me is the Game Sphere episode when Josh is like, "It's spherical! Spherical!"
No, facts. 8.
Oh, last bit here from the college game. If you want to win a chance to win one of those new TLN hats, shout out to TLN. The college pick'em games this week are Syracuse and Virginia, North Carolina and Army, Duke and Notre Dame, UMass and St. Joe's, and then Penn State and Maryland.
I chose. I know I chose I chose Maryland. I do know I chose Maryland. I think you said the Cornell game, right?
No,
No.
North
Hold on.
Carolina
I got him.
Army.
I chose Syracuse, North Carolina, Duke, St. Joe's, and Maryland.
We're on the same page, bro. Let's win a hat.
Listen, the Duke pick is.
Let's win a hat. Let's win a
I'm-
hat.
I'm on the fence about the Duke pick because they have not played great, but you know what? Notre Dame doesn't look great either.
Agreed.
So I don't know what to think there, but I think the rest of them are almost chalk. And yeah, I feel good. I went
Let's go
4
win
for 5.
ourselves a new TLN.
I went 4
hat.
for 5 last week, and
I forget what I went on the season. I'm 23 for 38.
Army was the one team that did me dirty.
So I'm 23 and 15 on the season. My college picks, not too shabby for a guy who doesn't know all that much college.
I am 25 and 13.
Look at that. Look at us. Knowers of ball. That's all we got for you guys on this one. Make sure you're following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod, at Underground PHI, across the board. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/OTB LaxPod, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. We're almost at 1,100 subscribers. 51 more of you subscribe there. 49 more of you subscribe to OTB, and you'll start getting the college show with Deej and Hoots. So keep on subscribing to the YouTube channels, and visit the link in the description. Check out Shootout For Soldiers website to learn how to get involved, donate, volunteer, or register for an event this upcoming 2025 Shootout For Soldiers season, running from May to October. Plus, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch more with Wall Ball for Warfighters in November and a whole lot more, but use the link in the description. Check out Shootout For Soldiers website to get more information on how to get involved. And this has been episode number 368 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA and number 11 Philadelphia ranked podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's OTB, baby. For Deej, I'm KB. Enjoy the weekend of lacrosse. Enjoy the rest of the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 in the college basketball tournament. And we'll see you right back here next week talking all things lacrosse and a whole lot more. But until then, best of luck to Michigan. I hope they win because they're a lot of fun to watch. Even though Deej says he wants to melon baller his eyeballs out watching them, they've been very fun in the tournament so far. And your coach just said you guys need a reset, and it looks like they've gotten that reset so far. So best of luck to Michigan.
Hey, we need a lot of luck. We're playing, the number 1 overall seed tonight. But yeah, hey, I'm definitely down to do a stream and lose my balls again while they're playing. Like, I mean, I think the people thoroughly enjoyed watching me crash out during a game.
So yeah, we'll be back next week. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
Hey.